All right. Good morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the PT on Ice Daily Show. My name is Jason London. I am lead clinical faculty for the Endurance Athlete Division. So that means I teach rehabilitation of the injured runner live, rehabilitation of the injured runner online, as well as a professional bike fitting certification course. And then once in a while, lecturing in the Vice Series 2. So really happy to be here with you today talking about endurance athletes and the rehabilitation of injuries for endurance athletes. Before I get started on the topic, which is maintaining endurance or maintaining cardiovascular fitness while someone is injured or needing to take some time off, and kind of what is the minimum dose to do that. But before I dive into that, just some upcoming events. We just started our first cohort for 2023 for rehabilitation of the injured runner online. So next available sign up for that, or the next available is March 14th. So we'd love to have you there if you're interested in learning about treating runners or furthering your skills for treating runners. And then as far as live courses go, we'll have a few less live courses in 2023 than we did last year, mainly in part to Megan Peach moving to Austria, which creates some logistical issues for teaching live courses. She'll still be teaching rehabilitation of the injured runner online, as well as being on the podcast. But it's pretty much just me for teaching the Endurance Athlete Division courses. So we have a couple bike fit courses coming up this coming May, one in Chicago and one in Bellingham, Washington. Really excited to go to both of those places. And then in June, we have the first live version for 2023 of Rehabilitation of the Injured Runner live in Pittsburgh. So love to have you there. We have a lot of fun and talking all things endurance athlete. Okay, so to dive into today's topic, so talking about maintaining cardiovascular fitness, or basically maintaining endurance while someone is needing to take time off. In our setting, that's typically going to be because of injury, right? So I like to pride myself, and I like to teach everyone, especially who are working with runners, to pride themselves as trying to allow their runners to keep running while they're rehabbing their injury, but that isn't always the case. Certainly in the case of stress fractures, and then in certain instances, they get injured long time off. And when we're talking prolonged time off, we're talking, probably about a month or more, which really affects their cardiovascular endurance. Typically in their training, we are going to have deload weeks or recovery weeks where they'll decrease their volume by 50%, right around, and still be able to maintain their cardiovascular fitness with just that 1 week decrease there. But what we're talking about today are prolonged decreases of having to either cease training or drastically reduce their volume. And we know from the research in untrained individuals lose all of their cardiovascular gains or their gains in VO2 max that they had made over the past several months with as little as a month of inactivity. In trained individuals, so people have been participating longer and training longer in their sport, that takes a little bit longer because they are more robust and resilient and have put in the work to build that base. But still, after as little as 2 weeks, they're going to have significant decreases in their VO2 max. And by 4 weeks, they're going to have about 20% decrease in their VO2 max, which is huge because it takes 4 to 6 weeks just to start building that back up. And so what we really want to do for our athletes possible. And so what's the minimum dose that they need to continue doing to maintain that cardiovascular fitness? And, does it matter what the intensity and does it matter what the frequency is? Well, thankfully, in May of 2021, Spearing and colleagues published a review article in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research looking at just that. And looking across studies, what they found in untrained and trained individuals, that endurance athletes can cut their volume by between 33 and 66%. So let's just say 66%, and still maintain their cardiovascular fitness over a 15-week period by having that drastically reduced volume. So that's huge, that someone can reduce their volume by over half and still maintain their cardiovascular fitness while they're rehabbing from an injury or taking the time off that they need to. But what really matters is the intensity that they're doing that reduced volume at. So for what their event is. And so in most cases, that's going to be like your zone 3 in terms of, we're talking about heart rate training. So, around 80% of max heart rate, probably RPE of 6, making sure that they're getting that volume in at that heart rate. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to maintain their cardiovascular fitness with that much of a reduced volume. And then second, what they need to do is they need to continue at a frequency of at least twice a week. Less than twice a week also shows that, based on that review article, that they're not going to be able to maintain their cardiovascular fitness. So again, thinking about your athletes that have to either drastically reduce their volume or cease training altogether because of an injury, whether it be a stress fracture or recovering from a surgery, we can allow them to continue to maintain their cardiovascular fitness and all those gains that they've been working so hard on, as long as they're not going above a 66% reduction in their volume. They're doing that volume at an appropriate level of intensity, so 80% heart rate max, and then doing it with a frequency of at least twice a week. So that makes things very manageable, I think, for our athletes, and is a great educational piece for them to allow them to maintain their cardiovascular fitness while they're overcoming their injury. But oftentimes that's not going to be done while running. So the specificity there is a little bit different. So often we're going to try to have them do activities or sports that are essentially non-weight bearing. So seated cycling, if it's upper extremity cardiovascular fitness, so UBE, upper extremity ergonomic, that every clinic has, or if they're allowed to have some weight bearing, certainly they could be doing elliptical. If the season's right, they could be doing some Nordic skiing, or again, for completely non-weight bearing and being very specific, they could be doing deep water running, just making sure that they're been coached in how to do that properly, so that they're wearing a flotation device, so that they're not going to be in cervical extension trying to keep their head above water, and trying to maintain kind of proper running form with that. Obviously, with deep water running, there's a pretty big barrier that you need access to a pool, but that has been shown to be a very effective method of training for runners who can't run. And thankfully, they can do it at a very reduced volume. Again, up to 66% reduction in their volume. So that's what I got for you, everyone, today. Let me know if you have any questions. We'd love to see you at Endurance Athlete Division course. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Get outside, do something fun with friends and family, and we will see you later.